With CodePath, we really wanted to focus on what skills and collection of skills would be most powerful to drive economic mobility. One of the most important starting points for us, helping students to love technology, to love learning. We're serving about 5% of all college computer science students in the country right now, 16% in South Florida. We're really good at scale. We're really good at maintaining quality as we scale. So serving 20,000 students this year. We're on track to serve 100,000 by 2028. This is turbocharging efficiency in the learning process.
Hi, I'm Rod Miller. Welcome to Opportunity Miami Podcast. Today we're glad to have with us Michael Ellison, the CEO of CodePath. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So CodePath, it really sits at the intersection of tech, education, and economic growth. That's really exciting. How do you define that intersection?
Yeah, well, so number one, I think of what is really driving economic growth in this country. And you're looking at technology. What's driving GDP? What's driving the stock market? Right. What are the most valuable companies? What are the fastest growing companies? That's all technology. All tech, yeah. And then, what's that key element driving tech? You're talking about products. And you use software to create products. Yeah. And then, how do you have these skills? Well, computer science and software engineering. So with CodePath, we really wanted to focus on what skills and collection of skills would be most powerful to drive economic mobility. And then we just saw what the market was telling us. That in turn inspired us to think of, well, we see these opportunities and we see technology, but how do we have the biggest impact on disadvantaged communities possible? And so then that's where we looked at wanting to be more default inside of the places where the majority of people from low-income backgrounds are going in order to upskill, so community colleges and state schools. So we want to mirror those two pieces, and to me it just is painfully obvious. You need to provide the access to this incredible wealth generation opportunity, but you need to embed it where people are, and hopefully for free, or for as low cost as you possibly can so that it's completely accessible and within those communities.
So what does that look like in practice? How do you work with schools? How do you work with students?
Yeah, so let's talk about Florida International University. And I also go back a little bit to CodePath's origin. So CodePath was actually seed funded by Facebook's engineering team back in 2017. Their hypothesis at that time was that at scale we would change the schools they would hire out of. Not just the top 20 CS program, but state schools, community colleges, where the majority of Americans are going to school and trying to upskill themselves. With Florida International University, a number of years ago, we were directly serving students. We have direct-to-student programs they can opt in. And then we started to reach out to local leadership, started working with the Knight Foundation, started working with Miami-Dade government in order to do one of the first place-based initiatives where we would be able to start partnering not just with faculty, but help to be more co-architects of the degree programs. Fast forward to the present, CodePath is serving about 16% of all computer science students in South Florida across all the different institutions in South Florida. The students are averaging $92,000 first-year salaries.
Wow, that's great.
They're highly coveted by tech incubators like Y Combinator. They're getting to the most competitive companies, and we also have multiple courses that are deeply embedded inside of the Florida International degree program.
So what are you doing different? I mean, because I've heard you hit on a couple of things. You've hit on students that are underrepresented and students that haven't typically come from those kind of backgrounds. Mm-hmm. You mentioned high caliber job access. You've interested not only high caliber, but kind of those elite organizations in that world. What's the secret sauce?
There's a couple things. One is most schools focus more on theory and creating computer science professors. They're not as much optimizing for the hyper-productive, hyper-competitive, full contact sports of entrepreneurship, professional software engineering. So one of the big gaps is courses that are more theory, that are not quite as practical. Ours are project-based, meant to replicate the real-world software engineering environments. And across every classroom, you have access to professional software engineers while you're learning, as well as the grades that we're providing you correlate with passing technical interviews and on-the-job performance. So one of the most popular courses at Florida International right now is a course that you take it, And then we know whether or not you're going to be able to get into a Google or get into Microsoft, get into a JP Morgan. And as you could imagine, students are wondering if they want to be able to get a competitive job. Courses like that are extremely valuable.
So what is it that those high demand, high value employers are looking for? What are the skill sets that they're looking for, and how might those be different than what we've traditionally thought?
So I'll start someplace you might not expect. The relationship to learning is and that mindset is one of the most important starting points. Because as a software engineer, as a technologist, as an entrepreneur, you never stop learning. You always have to be at the cutting edge. You need to understand what's possible, how to solve something in a more compelling, better, different, hopefully 10x, 100x better way than it's been done before. One of the most important starting points for us, helping students to love technology, to love learning, and then from there, we try to make sure that they have really strong software engineering fundamentals. They understand and they're proficient in the latest technologies, which most college courses, you're not exposed to the latest technologies. It's not just practical, it's not just vocational, it's a really strong foundation that sets you up for success as technology changes, combined with the practical application, which you want to start a company, or you want to rise the ranks inside of a competitive technology company. That's what you need.
Now, I believe you're the largest provider of this kind of service support in the country now?
By far. By far, yeah. We're serving about 5% of all college computer science students in the country right now, 16%, as I mentioned, in South Florida, and then in Florida State, it's 4%.
Why Florida?
Oh, why Florida? Oh, man. I kind of fell in love with Florida a couple of years ago, to be honest. So I was 10 years in Silicon Valley, tech entrepreneurship. And then, first I just knew about the weather in Miami and knew about the beaches. And that's what initially made me curious. During the pandemic, I spent a lot more time over here. I started to meet the leadership community, schools, foundations, government. And there was an energy, but also a focus for really driving change and becoming the next major tech hub that made me really excited. And then it also led to an opportunity where people could really get things done. So when we started to collaborate, it wasn't talk about things and then talk about the plan and then meet 5-6 times to then continue planning. And then we got to meet with all the different stakeholders. It was, let's get this done, what can we do? And then pilot leads to trust leads to scale. Miami has really been this beacon for, and we're at the Beacon Fund, but it's been a beacon for what we see as exemplar partnership.
One of the things we often talk about, and I've heard you say it as well, is that talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. How's CodePath being intentional about making sure that those underrepresented groups have opportunities to participate in the economy?
Yeah, I mean, we love to segment and sub-segment different degrees of disadvantage. One of the reasons why the deep partnerships with schools was so important was, can we be the default pathway? You don't even need to choose us or think of us or hear about us. You go to the local community college or local state school. You go to a place where it's free or extremely low cost, and we're there. And then we provide everything that you need in order for you to be able to unlock that potential. We also specifically are targeting schools that tend to be lower ranked in many cases, and we pride ourselves on our students being coveted by the most competitive technology companies. Of the 36,000 students that we've taught since 2017, the highest concentration, software engineering at Amazon, followed by Microsoft, followed by Google. The major technology companies have deeper and deeper partnerships with us every single year because we're a larger source of their entire future talent.
So we work with companies across aviation and aerospace, life sciences and healthcare, tech, financial services, trade and logistics, the list goes on. How do you partner with companies? If we have companies that are like, wow, what he's saying sounds great, how could we partner with CodePath? What does that look like?
Yeah, so let me frame two different ways. One is an at scale. We have these large scale career fairs where we leverage a talent matching platform we've built to predictively introduce companies to students that we already know are going to pass their technical bar. Okay. So much more efficient for the employer. I think in South Florida especially, say you're a smaller employer and you're not really sure, then we'll be able to work with you and be able to better provide you with what you actually need. So we might be able to even help a bit with that vetting process because we have much better insights and assessment nationally. The second way is, we've had some large partnerships with Meta, with Salesforce, where we run internship programs for them.
Oh, great.
One of the ways that we were able to build trust with schools is we're teaching Miami-Dade college students, and then they could skip the resume, they could skip the interview. We put them into their first high-paying job at a top technology company just because they were participating in our training. So that's what we think the future of education is. Now, with that partnership with Salesforce, for example, a couple of years ago, they said, we really want AI to be embedded inside of this program. So we embedded it. So they get a custom talent pipeline in addition to leveraging our insights across the country.
This is all very interesting. I want to go in a different direction for a moment. Tell us about you. What made you start CodePath? How did you get here?
So I've been an entrepreneur since 19 years old. I got to college, I felt like I'm already successful because I came from a low-income background. And you're successful, what do you do? I thought, maybe it's time to give back. So that first organization, nonprofit, ended up being high impact but low scale. And then it made me obsessed with how can I actually build something that gets to high scale? I see Facebook and Google and all these different tech companies scaling, and that made me really interested in coding. So I start to get into coding. I start to try to partner with the most talented software engineers I can find, and then it leads me to working with these talented software engineers. I found multiple tech companies, become one of the earliest Black founders in Y Combinator in 2011, and then that EdTech company pivoted to enterprise analytics, was acquired a number of years ago for a little over $3 billion. So I got really lucky, but it was really just about the curiosity in technology, being interested in entrepreneurship, and then taking a leap to try to work with really talented people.
If you could give one piece of advice to Miami's leaders, policymakers, educators, entrepreneurs about building a more inclusive, equitable, tech-driven economy, what advice would that be?
I think we continue to invest deeply into our schools and our school system. And that's the key engine of opportunity, of upskilling. If we're able to not just provide the accessibility, not just we're doing something in AI, but we're really optimizing for proficiency that stands out to employers, then there's an opportunity to really pull companies here. I think the other opportunity, as you are bolstering that tech talent pipeline, is entrepreneurship and innovation. We're living in a pretty incredible time. AI is the biggest opportunity in our lifetimes for generational wealth. And if you understand the tools, it unlocks your creativity, what you can build, how you can build it. There are so many small, medium, any size businesses that are now possible that were not possible a couple years ago. And I think this is especially exciting because Miami has 88,000 small, medium-sized businesses, and many of them are, five people or less, or $1 million or less. But Miami has the entrepreneurial spirit, the passion. This is an incredibly ambitious city, and I think if we can mirror that with ensuring that the default pathways in our education system prepare people to unlock their potential and to get ahead. Given where technology is moving, then this could be one of the top tech hubs in the future.
What does the future look like for CodePath?
So CodePath, we're really good at scale. We're really good at maintaining quality as we scale. So serving 20,000 students this year, we're on track to serve 100,000 by 2028. We're already the largest computer science educator in the country. We'll be the largest workforce development organization in the country by far at that time. And when it comes to places like South Florida, I'm really, really excited about what integrating AI into the classroom for better personalized and adaptive learning. Every learner gets what they need when they need it. This is turbocharging efficiency in the learning process.
That's great.
And so we talk about internally, can we decrease the time to mastery or to achieve certain skills in half? Can we cut that in half? So something interesting about AI, AI is accelerating software taking over industries and sectors that it previously has not touched as deeply.
Yeah.
And there's massive demand when you talk about strategic priorities for the state, like space exploration, or you look at how cybersecurity is changing, then there's this massive demand for a more multidisciplinary background. So if we can combine a more effective learning experience for every young person,
absolutely,
combined with also, I can have depth in more and more areas, you're going to see an explosion of creativity, of entrepreneurship, and it's going to be very much more democratized than it currently is.